Hey everyone. Recently I was thinking about getting a new, another All-American Sun Oven. These are fantastic and work great. The only thing is you're kind of limited to what you can do. You can do quite a bit in these. You can cook a full meal. But when it comes to feeding an entire family, it becomes a little bit of a challenge getting everything in there and cooking a lot of stuff. So, and especially for dehydrating, which I want to do this coming summer when I am going to do a lot of gardening and stuff, and I want to dehydrate some stuff. And you can just do more if you have two of them. Now, instead of buying an all-new Sun Oven, at this point, I decided to try my luck at making one that is fairly similar to the All-American Sun Oven. Want to try to make it as close as efficient to the All-American Sun Oven as I can, getting up to the same temperature, retaining the heat, all of that stuff. We'll see how that turns out, but I know I'm not going to be able to get it exactly like this because they've had years and years worth of testing and stuff to get this absolutely perfect, but I'm going to give it a shot. In this, I'm going to break this up into 3 different videos just because it's going to be so long. In this video, I'm going to be doing the reflectors, and then I'll be doing the box. I've already got the skeleton of the box made here. And then I'll be finishing everything up with the outside panels and all that. But with this video, I want to show you how I made these reflectors right here, which were pretty simple. You know, the Sun Oven uses the stainless steel reflectors. You could go that route. I decided to go the MDS board route. One side is finished, one side is unfinished, and I put Mylar bags instead of aluminum foil on those for the reflectors. So, and some zip ties for right now to hold these all together. Now, the zip ties this is sort of a prototype, so I don't want to spend a lot of money on this. You know, the Sun Oven is only about $300, so I wanted to keep this around $100, $150. And right now, if this all works, then maybe I will go with like the hinges that these guys have on theirs, maybe even this tin or aluminum. But for now, let me show you how I cut these out, how I made these reflectors. And then in the next video, like I said, we'll move on to the box itself and the interior and all of that. Now, the reason I wanted to, before we get to this, the reason I wanted to do this the same as the Sun Oven is because I want to use the accessories. I want to be able to use the accessories that they have included with the Sun Oven, the pots and pans, the rack that tilts, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get into how I did these reflectors right here. I started off with a 2-foot by 4-foot piece of MDS particle board. And like I said, one side is finished and the other side isn't. You could do both sides unfinished and just paint it or just leave it the way it is, however you want. Now with this board, you can get 2 of these wings out of one board. So I got 2 of those boards. And the measurements on the All-American Sun Oven reflectors, the top part of the wing is 22 inches wide. The bottom part is 16 and a half, and up and down, it's 9.5 inches. So that was pretty easy. Getting the angles cut down here, a little bit more of a challenge. And what you do is you measure down 9.5 inches, and then this middle piece, if you take that 16 and a half, find your exact middle point, that 16 and a half, and just go 8 1/4 across both ways, then you can find the 2 spots where you need to cut that angle off. And then what I did was did this for all 4 of the pieces. And then with the pieces that fold inward, like these pieces right here, I just found the center point and cut those straight in half. Then what I did was sanded the back. I wanted to give it a little bit more surface area for the glue I used to get the Mylar to stick. So what I did was sanded the back just a little bit, not too much. I just wanted to give it a little bit more surface area. You could even sand the back of the Mylar as well. Now with the drilling, I just made these even. I measured 3 on the side. I did it exactly like the Sun Oven is. When you drill though, start your hole through the finished side, because if you don't, you make the mistake like I made the first time. I drilled through the unfinished side and popped out that finished stuff. So just make sure you do that. All right, now putting on the Mylar, I chose to use Mylar bags rather than the tin foil. because it creates more of a good finish. So you can see how the tin foil, this heavy duty tin foil, is kind of wrinkly where the Mylar is nice and smooth. I used Super 77 at spray adhesive, which worked pretty well. The trick with this stuff is to wait about 15 to 30 seconds before you apply the Mylar. I used 5-gallon bag size Mylar bags. I believe they're like 20 by 30 inches. They were perfect to get on these. But let that glue sit for about 15 to 30 seconds before you apply the Mylar on there. And then just make sure when you cut that Mylar piece out, it's big enough to cover the whole piece. I made that mistake at first and had to redo everything. But then you just put it on, make sure you slowly put it on, make sure you don't have any bubbles or creases in there. You're gonna get a few, but try to get it as smooth as possible. Then once you get it on there, make sure just kind of smooth everything out. You could use a plastic spatula. I chose to just use my hands because I didn't want to scratch anything up or create rips or anything like that in it. So I just used my hands and it worked just fine. Just make sure it's nice and stuck on there. After that, it takes about 30 minutes to an hour or so for it to completely adhere, maybe even longer than that, but just don't do too much with them right after you get them done. And then after I got all of that done, I made sure and just trim the edges, just turn it over to the white part and just cut right along the wood there. It gives it a nice clean edge, nice clean finish. Now with the zip ties, this is a little bit tricky because I started off and I put all 3 zip ties on there and I put them together a little bit too tight. But with these panels, you want them to angle outwards. So if you have all of these super tight, you're not going to be able to get them to angle outwards and then set on the rest like I wanted it to. So what I ended up doing was putting just 2 of them on there. I don't have longer zip ties. I may get a longer one just to put around the top in the future, but for right now it's just these 2, and I'll change that in the future if need be after I get this box all done and set up and see how everything works. So that's it basically for these wings. Like I said, in the next video, I'm going to be finishing up this box. I'll show you how I put this together. I'm going to put the insulation inside these and then put the frame and everything together. Later on, we'll be doing the top. I'm using just some Lexan plastic right now because I want to make sure this actually works before I go the actual glass route, put the hinges on and all that. But the wing's pretty simple to do. It takes a little bit of work. This is definitely not a one afternoon project, but hopefully everything works and it's as efficient as the All-American Sun Oven or as close as possible anyway. If I can get it to cook a meal, it may take an hour or 2 more, but as long as it does what it's supposed to do, I'm going to be happy with it. So in the next video, we'll be going over this. If you have any questions, stuff that I didn't say that I should have in this video, I'll have this project over at DIYprepping.net with a step-by-step tutorial along with the supplies where you can get them. And you can just leave a comment below in the comment section and let me know, hey, what about this or what about that? But until the next video, we'll talk to everyone later.